I'm Kate Gravelle. Both my parents, we say, died of Alzheimer's, but actually it's the complications from Alzheimer's that they died of. My dad forgot how to eat, and although they tried to feed him all the time, he basically starved to death, which is a harsh thing to say, but it's basically true. My mother also died of Alzheimer's, or complications of. Hers actually was kidney failure. Her body just shut down. She also didn't eat much, so they both got very tiny and frail. It was hard on all of the kids, myself and my siblings, because while at times they knew us, and I was fortunate because my dad would surface for me every time I went to see him. I lived at a distance, so I didn't see him every day, and I was always warned that Dad's not the same, he won't be there. But he'd surface for me, and I felt like it was a gift every time. He knew I was getting married again. He knew that I was his. He never called me by name, but he did once say that I was his daughter. So that was a special gift for me. My mother's last words to me were to go home. She had kidney failure, and my sister and I were sitting next to the bed, and I didn't know whether to return to Canada, get back to my job, or stay there, because it could have been a week, it could have been 2 weeks, it could have been longer. So I turned to my sister and I said, I don't know whether to stay or go home. She said, go home. So I did. I wasn't there when either one of them died. On the first one I was on a honeymoon trip, and that was my dad, but I saw him the week before, and that was the only time that he didn't know that I was really there. My two sisters were, though, and they were singing to him, and they were singing old hymns that we used to have at church. And he said, that's good. He knew they were there, and he knew they were singing. But it was just hard to have them disappear when their body is still there. And yet their personalities didn't change a whole lot. Some people do, some don't. And they didn't. He was still a gentle soul, and Mom was still her spunky self at times, and at other times not so much so. I gave my mother a little stuffed puppy that I just happened to stop and pick up on the way down there. And she said, oh, he's so cute. And I said, I thought so too, Mom. Well, do you want him? No, he's for you. And that was surprisingly her baby. And she took baby everywhere. And if baby disappeared, she'd be terribly upset, but she'd even take him out for dinner. And I was glad I was able to give her that little bit of comfort and have a companion to be there with her, and she would cuddle him at night. It's tough. It's tough having parents, and it scares my siblings and I that we may get it too, because I think my grandmother had it and both my parents. And so when I saw my sister getting confused, and she's 2 years older than I am, it upset me, but I spoke to her and said she needed to see her doctor, and she went. But the hard thing was that she found out a lot of people were worried about her, and nobody had the nerve to say anything to her. But earlier detection, at least you can get some temporary help with medication, and my prayer is that they're going to be finding some more cures before I get much older. So I'm hoping for that. It's a tough disease.